All right, so Christian, the Christian name, has that always been your name? Like even from the beginning, did you try anything else out in the beginning? Did you say, "Hey, let's try this, let's try that"? We know you get the name Christian from the wrestler Christian, but did you try anything else out? Was there ever anything else on the table?
So my first couple of matches is really embarrassing and it's really bad. I met a guy at some point in college whose name was Eddie Cross, and I thought that was the coolest name, right? Sounds a little generic indie. So then I knew that like Chris or Christian was going to be the thing. So I had a couple of matches under the name Chris Cross, not realizing, not even like it wasn't that I didn't realize it. It was like I didn't think about the musician, right? Never even mind. So that was the first go around, and then changed it to Christian Rose pretty directly, actually.
So you didn't think "Warm It Up, Chris" would land anywhere? You don't think that would gotten over?
Absolutely not. It was just one of those weird things with picking a wrestling name, which then now has become a running gag for me of what my wrestling name should have been.
Right. Yeah, because you're always putting out there my wrestling name should have been, Jagal McDurgle or something. Like you always come up with something funny.
That's for me, that's my equivalent of the Jeff Foxworthy "you might be a redneck if," like the gift keeps on giving.
Oh man, that would have been funny. We would have got a lot of laughs out of that for sure. Welcome everybody. My name is DB. Welcome to the Sit Down Marks podcast. Let's talk 20 years with Christian Rose today.
All 20 of them.
What's the difference between you and me? You talk about it, I do it.
Sit down, Marks.
Let me talk to you. Acknowledge me.
So Christian, back in 2022, man, when you were on my podcast, you said that when you were young, you saw Jake the Snake Roberts, Cobra, bite Macho Man, and you said, "I want to do that," right? And then March 2006, Salem, Illinois, your first match comes around, and then here we are, June 2026, as we record this right now, 20 years into the wrestling business. Talk to me for a second, man. Just tell me what spills out of your brain when you think about those 20 years of independent wrestling, and like what sticks out in your head, and aren't you glad you did it?
Man, I don't regret a damn thing. I don't regret one choice. I don't regret one mistake. Like none of it. I don't regret any of it, because if it had gone any differently, I wouldn't be where I am, and I really like where I am right now. I'll tell you, one of the funny things about the 20-year mark, for me at least, very specifically, was I didn't think about it until I was on a show for Homegrown Wrestling back in March. I had a match with my dear Damian Deschain. And
I saw that match live, by the way.
Yep, I do recall you being there, yeah. And I had a great time. Nice. I love Homegrown Wrestling. We can talk more about that anytime. But I love Homegrown. I like shows like that. It's good vibe, good match. It's great to be in the ring with the boy. And I was leaving, and I was just in a great mood, and it was beautiful out. And I checked the date, and then I had a moment where I was like, "Wait a minute." And, research, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've hit 20 years." It wasn't like to the day. It was off by that show was on a Saturday, and I think the actual to the day would have been like the following Tuesday, or it was something like that. But I was like, "Oh man, I've done it." But it wasn't like a thing that I had marked in my calendar. I wasn't counting down the days, marking an X and an O around them or anything. It was just by pure happenstance. I was like, "Oh yeah," and I think part of what triggered that thought for me was a couple of fans at the merchandise table that day had asked me how did you get started doing this? And how long have you been doing it? And somebody just casually was like, "How long have you been doing this?" And I was like, oh wow. Look, done.
Yeah, right. So Christian right now is talking to us live from, I think maybe outside his yard, his driveway. So if you hear a bird, if you hear a car go by, if you hear a grill cut on, a beer can, he's just enjoying life at home, like that's what 20-year veterans do, right?
Exactly. I hope it's not too troubling on the audio. If it is, I can try to I don't know. Throw something.
You're good, man. So let's talk about. Imagine your prep, like you're getting ready for your first match in 2006. Now think of your prep now. Like, boy, tell me what the differences are.
I definitely have more confidence now.
Sure.
And a lot of all the other changes would fall under that. I can remember. So, like, you always want to be nervous before a match. You know, I think even Ric Flair said something about that. Like, if the day you're not nervous is the day you need to stop doing it, right? But there's different kinds of nervous. And I can remember first starting out, like, especially at that time period, like, I would be so nervous. Like, I remember, like, on show days, I wouldn't eat until, like, after my match. And there's still people out there that do that. The idea of that now, to me, it sounds impossible. Like, I don't think I could do it. I would be... Here's one that will shock listeners that do actually really know me. I would be early to shows.
What? What?
Like, I would be so early that there would be times where, like, now when I think back on it, I'm like remembering where I lived and how far I had to travel, and I'd be like, oh man, I used to leave at like 10 or 11 in the morning for a 2.5-3 hour drive to a show. And then I'm standing outside the building waiting on the ring to show up and, you know, stuff like that.
You were excited.
Now, like, just far and away not what you get with me. Even the guys that, like, travel with me, they constantly bitch about my being late. And I'm always like, guys, it's fine. We got it.
We're good. We're good.
We'll make it. They're not going to start the show without us. Definitely. Did that in a carload.
Right.
You guys are on first. They can't start the show until we get there.
Just talking them into it.
But I also when I say, like, the confidence thing, it would almost be nerve-wracking at times when I first started out, and was that way for a long time too, because I wanted to know what was happening in my match from start to finish, man, top to bottom, T to B. I needed to be, like, in the know on everything. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. It's just a different way of working. It's just a different way of wrestling. Now I'm much more confident in my abilities and whatnot to it gives me a little bit more leeway.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you've probably seen everything just about there is to see in 20 years. You know, what do you think? I might need to give you some time to answer this today, but what do you think has changed the most in the 20 years that you've been around, and what do you think could improve still?
Ooh, I mean, buckle up, buckaroos. I've got a lot.
Rip it. I
think that one of the biggest things, and this is from my point of view during my tenure, is the change in perception when it comes to people's size, their physical size. I am 6'3¼ tall. I currently weigh about like 210, bulking up. When I started, I was the same height, but I was about 180 pounds. I was a much skinnier dude. And because of my height and me being slender framed, the idea of, like, you know, really doing this for any sort of money or on TV, that was not possible, because I would look on TV and I would see John Cena, Bobby Lashley, Chris Masters, Batista, Randy Orton, like all these guys they're not just tall, they are like action figure jack. They are enormous. And when you do meet these guys from TV, the cameras don't always do them justice. Like, Billy Gunn is one of the biggest people I've ever seen. And
I've seen him in person. Yeah.
You don't appreciate it until you see him in person. And then once you get like something like that for a frame of reference and you watch wrestling from that era that he was in more prominently, you're like, oh, wow, everyone was big. Everyone was huge. Like, when I first started, I was considered too small to be picking people up. And I didn't have the strength to do it safely. Mm-hmm. So let's, be fair. But, there were a lot of people who thought I should have just been a ref and stuff like this because they thought I was too small to be a wrestler. Now, 20 years and I don't know, 30 or 35 pounds later, I can wrestle like a big man because 6'3" and 210 pounds now carries a lot more weight than it did back then. Like, like wrestlers in general are smaller. And I think that like when you saw like the cruiserweight style in WCW, I think that was like kind of the start of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, people see that and it becomes so dazzling and it's so awesome. Well, that style of wrestling doesn't even exist anymore. That's just what wrestling is now, you know, like, and the guys that were cruiserweights back then would be considered heavyweights now. Like the WCW cruiserweight limit was 225 pounds.
Right.
Like that is like big dude.
Yeah.
I think that like, that's probably the biggest thing because you look at like some of the best wrestlers of all time, your Bryan Danielsons, your AJ Styles and whatnot. They were never in 06 on television in America. They were not going to be top guys. Like it just wasn't really possible, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things for me. I also feel like the importance or the prevalence or whatever of social media has obviously, you know, taken off tremendously. Like you have to be a good wrestler to get booked. Now you just got to be popular.
Those are super facts, dude. I mean, it's just what it is.
And like to the people that make their money and their careers off of that, more power to you. Like you know, bills are bills. I understand that, but like that wasn't really a thing. You know, it didn't really matter back then. Word of mouth was more important.
Yeah.
Word of mouth now, I don't think really carries as much weight as it used to. You know.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and also too feel like that like there's so many people putting so many other people over. You know what I mean? Like this guy, that guy, you know, so it's hard to kind of like, you know, take the word of mouth for, you know, for facts unless you go and look it all up yourself, you know?
I'll give you some positives though that have changed during my tenure. I do feel like wrestlers and wrestling in general is better behaved now than when I first started. Cause there used to be a lot of like really immature, unprofessional idiots, and there still are. Don't get me wrong; they're still out there. They're in a great number, but there used to be more of them, and it was a different type of immature and unprofessional. Like, you know, wrestlers that would intentionally try to start fights with fans at after parties, type of thing, or anything that would like screw over a venue or cut ties between a venue and a promotion. I feel like that's toned down because people have finally accepted that, like, oh, this isn't just something that's cool and fun. This is going to cost money. This is going to cost bookings. This is going to cost themselves and those around them, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely improved. I also feel like I was trying to describe this recently. Excuse me. I feel like people's just acceptance of the hierarchy of pro wrestling, so to speak, has changed because 20 years ago and such, when I first started and I was just going to new places and trying to learn and whatnot and drive, you would meet guys that would come to a promotion and they'd like say it's called ABCW or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that would come in there and they would literally be like, I want to be ABCW champion. That's I want to be the top guy in this place. And a promoter, good, bad, or otherwise, would look at this guy and look at themselves and say, this guy wants to be the top guy here. That doesn't happen anymore. Like, you don't really meet guys that go to an independent and they say, I want to be the top guy in this independent. They say, I want to be good here so that I can get to somewhere else, so that I can get to somewhere else, so that I can possibly get on TV. Mm-hmm. And I kind of hate that. I kind of really hate it. I think it's dismissive of independent promotions. I think it's dismissive of independent fans and whatnot. And it's like, you should want to make the I'm not saying that like you should, you know, email every promoter that you can and say, I want to be your world champion, brother. But you should want to make the promotion that you are working for better. That should be the goal of your day, that day. You know, actually entertain your fans, make that promotion better, be safe, have fun, all that jazz, right? And instead, a lot of guys that are like, yeah, today I'm doing this, and then tomorrow I'm doing that one, blah, blah. And it's like, you know,
it's almost like they're used for clout and for the resume versus, you know, I want to be awesome here. You know, and it's almost like I just want to show up here. I just want to be able to put ABCW on my resume that says I'm taking bookings in the next 3 years or something. You know what I mean? So, Chris, you've wrestled a ton of people, man, you know, and I don't know if you're a sentimental guy. And I've never really asked you this or not, but like, you know, like when I look at you sometimes, I go, man, shit, like fucking hell, he wrestled Van Vader, right? So my question is, like, you know, have you kept like trunks that you wrestled Vader in? You know, do you have any kind of like, sentimental values to your career?
No, actually, I don't. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not much a pack rat. I don't save. Like, I'll hold on to, like, you know, gifts. Like, if somebody gifts me something, like, I'm bad about getting rid of that. I have T-shirts that are 15 years old that I don't even wear, that I refuse to get rid of because someone was kind enough to give it to me, right? Yeah. Oh, man, I'm free shirt right now.
Oh, look at there. DreamwavePrelude. Shirt's available right now, in stock, ready to go.
How seamless that was.
It was.
Sometimes I do wish that I had, like, taken a few more photos. You know, I wish that I could have, like, kept a couple knickknacks or something like that. But a lot of times for me, it's more just like, I just like having that memory. I just like being able to bring it up. I don't like to, like, I don't ever want to, like, barge into a circle or, you know, a conversation of people and be like, pretty cool. One time I wrestled Vader. Like,
right. Yeah.
That's just...
But I mean, another thing too is, like, you've been on so many awesome posters. You don't even keep a poster, you know, maybe?
Occasionally I do, like, especially if it's one that's, like, really cool. I do actually have out in the garage. I've got, like, a couple of posters. I've got one of I think it was actually my very first banner that I got at Dreamwave that Meg was smart enough to save because I had said, nah, I don't ever want this. And she was like, no, you hold on to it. And then years later, oh man, I'm glad we saved that.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites, you can see it right here on the wall, is the match and the poster. I had you sign it because I like you and Hardbatter both sign it as much. But yeah, I just thought maybe just see if you kept anything like that or memoirs.
I've got a couple things that are like fan art that I like that I'll keep and that I'll save. A big fan from like the Zawa area, Robert. He got me a custom made mirror, actually. And I have that downstairs in my basement, in like the basement gym. And just a couple days ago at Anarchy, there was a fan there. She had this amazing fan art. She had just drawn a picture of me that she had seen online. And she just sketched it herself.
Oh, yeah. I'm
keeping that. So that's downstairs. And a couple other like fan art things and like posters and pictures and stuff I've got. But like, it's never something that I'm seeking out. I don't know what I'm sure there's some deep psychological reason for it. But yeah.
I mean, you've wrestled a ton of names. Let me just throw out some names and you say yes or no. AJ Styles.
Yes.
Abyss.
Yes.
Matt Cardona.
Yes.
John Morrison.
Yes.
Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Big Van Vader, of course. I mean, I probably could keep going, but I'll stop there.
Rhino. That was
Rhino. There you go. Like you've wrestled who's who of the indies. You've wrestled kind of who's who of the reasons we love wrestling. You know what I mean? The 2000s, like hotbed, everybody loves AJ. I've never met a person, you know what I mean? Like, you know how many people would love to say they wrestled AJ Styles? Like, holy shit.
I'm very cognizant of how lucky I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a second, man. But I mean, it's just wild. You have a hell of a list, dude. It's
really cool. And like I said, like, I'm very cognizant of just how lucky I am to have gotten to do all of this. And like, there's even I had a match with Gangrel where the bottom rope wasn't there because the match prior to us had broken the top rope, so they just had to move the ropes around. Weird stuff like that. Chuck Taylor, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Like, just Ricochet. I wrestled Ricochet. I wrestled like a ton of these guys, and a lot of it was just right place, right time. You knew the right people, and like once people learned that I wouldn't shit the bed in the ring.
Exactly. I was gonna say that has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Like I know I've told this story before, but like the first one that I really got was that Matt Hardy match, and that was one that I, pushed my chips across the table. It's like, I can do this, like. Because we knew he was booked. We knew he was coming in. Decision had been made yet who would work with. And I was like, I'll do it. I got it.
Yeah, that says a lot about you, because when promoters bring in guys like that, they want awesome matches out of them. They want them to get their shit in, and they need somebody standing across from them that can help them do that. And you're the kind of person that can always help them do that, man. And like, yeah, like you're a fucking Swiss Army knife. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to like put it together, but you know, there's one nickname you don't have.
No, I try to be versatile. You know, like you said, a Swiss or whatever, and like I can do main events. I can do openers. Like somebody asked me about doing like comedy stuff, and I was like, I don't mind doing comedy and wrestling, but to me, the funny part for the Christian Rose character is when he's the straight man in the bit. Like me being surly and sour is funnier than me trying to be the comedic force behind something like that.
Yeah. And, you know, let's talk about that bit, man. You know, let's talk about the promos, man. Let me tell you a story comes out of your mouth, you know, and every time you say that, we're enthralled, because you're going to tell us a story, because your promo work just as good, you know, as your character in-ring work. You know, how did like let me, you know, just enlighten me. How did you get so good at talking? Did you just kind of something came together, work in the mirror, practice, fucking what? You know what I mean? Like give us a secret.
My dad always said I just have the gift of gab.
You're great with words, Christian. You're great with words. Like you have an awesome vocabulary, vernacular that, you know, I've even heard people call you the wordsmith, which is like, I love that. It's great.
I've heard that one. I like that one a lot, actually. That's a good word. Some of it just came naturally to me. Like when I was a kid, the characters that I was the most drawn to, whether it was wrestling or just, you know, cartoons or movies or TV or shows, anything, I always loved the fast talkers. I loved the guys that were just quick and sly. And a lot of times it was the villain, because like you watch a Disney movie when you're a child of that era, like, you know, Iago the parrot's the bad guy, but like, man, he was funny and he was sharp. And you would see like just these fast talking characters everywhere. So I was always kind of drawn to that. And like when I was really, really little, I remember I wanted to be a comedian. That was my first, like, I think when I was really small, I wanted to be a fireman, and then it was a comedian. And so like I would stay up late and watch David Letterman because I thought he was the funniest guy.
Sure. He was great.
Then I got back into wrestling, and I was more rambunctious at that point in my youth. So then that was kind of like the perfect blend for me. The promo thing, I went to college for radio, TV broadcasting. I loved being on air. That was a really good time of my life. I got more confident with it. And once I just got to the point where I was like, oh man, sometimes when I talk, people listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I side tangent about it, but recently sent a Snapchat to a buddy of mine, Jay Fowler, out in Iowa. And I was talking to him about a car or a grill or something. I don't know what. And he messaged me back to say that he was in the car with his wife when he played that, and she thought it was an ad on a podcast or something. Which just came across well enough. He was like, no, that was just Tom giving me advice. And like, oh, I thought it was some stranger trying to sell us something.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But doing promos, though, for me, like once I kind of figured out like my style of promo and like what I kind of wanted my wrestling character to be, it got a lot easier for me, because I didn't want to just do like your classic, like, let me tell you something, brother, you and me on the down and I'm going to destroy it. Like I never really liked that type of promo. They have their place for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to do promos that sounded real. Like this is something that could take place in this tangible world that I, as a fan, live in. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my promos, I try to start with something that's, you know, sincere or true or whatever, and then build off of that. And if it's purely wrestling based, and I try to look at it as like, okay, canonically speaking, in this world of kayfabe,
right?
What do I feel like, you know? And if you can justify like your character's emotion and their motives, then you've got your character figured out. And a lot of people don't have their characters figured out, so then their promos just kind of falter back into that you, me, this date, I win, you lose thing. But I can tell you 8 in promos that people still do.
What's that?
I cannot stand when people reference stealing the show.
Oh, right, yeah.
I want people to talk about winning and losing, and
before or after the match, either one.
Like, there's a way to do it where you can say, like, oh man, hell of a fight, I get it. But like, when people say, anytime that they reference like wrestling as a performance in a promo, I don't like that either. I'm like, I want to be in the world that we are watching. Like, please.
So throughout these 20 years, man, did you ever get any looks from any bigger companies? You do any extra work, that kind of stuff? I don't think I've ever talked to you about, any of that. You done any kind of stuff like that for?
No. So, short answer, next question. No, there is more here. So like I said, when I started the idea of like, you got to keep in mind, I started training in the winter of 2005. My first match is in, March, spring of 2006. And like I said, you look at like what was on TV at that point. WCW's dead. ECW's dead.
Yeah.
I'd just gotten introduced to this thing called Ring of Honor, but past that, all you really knew over here in the States was the WWE. And so I never looked at that as even a possibility. I didn't even think it was remotely feasible to work there. So I didn't start wrestling with any desire to do that. That was never a goal of mine. More time goes on, like TNA, becomes kind of a bigger thing than it already was. And, then obviously, like, was it 2019 AEW starts and like things have changed, but I never pursued extra work. It just wasn't something that I wanted to. I have no problem with people who do, man. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to get your foot in the door, do it any way you see fit. If you just want to get free catering and a couple $100, do that. If you just want to say that you got to be on TV dressed as a hot dog, great. I don't care. Like, that's a better story than me saying I didn't do it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't something that I was always interested in. I props to the people who do it and do it maturely. It used to drive me insane when somebody would get called to do extra work, and then a couple weeks later they'd post a picture of like their check coming in the mail with the WWE logo on the letterhead or whatever. It'd be like big news or whatever. And I'm like, don't do this, man. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't lie to us. Like, it also, this is one too about it that like, I get it, but it still kind of drives me nuts when somebody would get a spot as, doing extra work. And let's just say their job that night is that they're standing in the background of a hallway and somebody walks past them. When a local promotion would be like, oh man, it's our good friends over at ABCW, right? Check out ABCW World Heavyweight Champion appearance tonight live on SmackDown. It's like, he's playing a janitor. Like,
right.
Like, you're not.
That's not nothing to brag about, right?
Right. It's like, there's this thing where it's like, I understand the sincerity behind it. Like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, so your top guy is, I don't know, a security guard or like, even that's better than just when it would be like, oh shit, there he is mopping the floor. Be sure to see that guy this week.
Right. Yeah. In the main event, like, so you saw him on Raw checking on Becky Lynch's Lynch's knee and, back acting like a doctor or something, he'll be in the main event Saturday night, so,
I do love talking to guys that do extra work though, because you get some wild stories from them, and that's something where it's like, there's been times where I'm like, man, I should send in my stuff and I should send in an email, and I probably know enough people that I could like do something just to say that I did it. Or do that'll be why. It'll just to be so that I could say that I did it, and that's that. But it's never been something that I just like actively pursued. As dumb as it sounds, my goal was to just get good at this, and it's taken me 20 years, but I'm almost there.
Right. That's the attitude, man. I wish more wrestlers had. Get good at this first, right? You know what I mean? Put the work in, get good at this, and worry about all that stuff later. But I want to ask you, Christian, so you worked all over the Midwest. Obviously, there's a few companies that I feel like maybe you should have at least worked for a bit, or at least once. There's some I worked for a promotion that wouldn't book you. We've talked about this, what I mean? So, so I want to ask, what's that?
I'll take all the heat. If there is any, throw one out here and I'll try to answer the question one by one.
No, I'm not going to throw out promotions, but what I want to ask you is why do you think that is, that maybe like certain promoters wouldn't book you or not having you on your shows? Is it maybe, the promoters rub you the wrong way? Are you loyal to other customers, or maybe just Christian Rose isn't everybody's cup of tea? You know what I mean?
Probably a lot of that last one. No, like there's some places, and like there are also promoters that like I am friends with that run shows that I'm not on, and like I've had conversations with them about it, and like okay, actually this is a positive one. So here, I'll just use this as an example. Eric Cannon, running First Wrestling up in Minnesota. I've never worked for First Wrestling. I am friends with Eric Cannon. We've talked about it off and on, and basically it's just like he just doesn't think I would fit in with that version of what pro wrestling is.
Sure.
Probably right. Like, he knows his audience better because I have not been there. You know what I mean? Like, no heat, no, obviously he's still a dear friend of mine. So it's not anything like that for me.
Right.
People not book me because they think that I'm too expensive. That's not true. If anything, I'm too cheap. I've had places not book me. I'll tell you a silly one. There was a time where one or two places didn't want to book me because they thought I was afraid to lose. There was this idea that I wouldn't go under. I didn't, do jobs. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, matches to some terrible wrestlers. That doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? That's just one where I'm like, if somebody doesn't want to book me, I can give you a good reason. Like, right. I can give you a good reason. I say that like they just don't like my in-ring or something. I'm like, sure, maybe I can't do the flips, but there's just different styles of wrestling. If you don't like my style of wrestling, I get that. But if somebody's running a promotion and it's not a place that I would fit in at, I don't even want to be there. Like there's all types of different shows. There's all types of wrestling. And if it's not something that's going to, make money or even good entertainment, like that's fine. I get it. But my thing is, I have no problem with somebody just telling me that. What's really frustrating is when you send out messages to like promotions or promoters or whoever, and they either don't respond at all, or they just give you some non-answer answer, I'll get back to you. Let me check this, that, or the other. I'm like, it's a yes or no.
You're right.
But like, I'm an adult. Maybe they don't deal with a lot of them, but like, I'm an adult. I can handle rejection. Like,
right. Yeah.
That's it doesn't like eat at me. I might want to ask, hey, why? Is there if it's someplace I really want to be, then I'll be like, well, why not? What can I do to be a part of this? And if I can, change or adjust or whatever, fine. And if it's something I can't, okay.
Sure.
Other worlds and all that. But,
right. Yeah, well, let's talk about other worlds, man. Places that you have worked, Journey Pro, St. Louis Anarchy, Zawa, Iron Spirit Pro, you name it. You've been there. You've won a title there at some sort, made your mark as a single. But, man, like, I feel like at Dreamwave, man, like you really came into your own in a different light when you were the faction leader of TDC.
Love that.
Those damn Coyotes. Yeah, so talk about the insertion of TDC into your 20-year career, because I feel like, not that you need a rejuvenated, not that you needed like a rub, but man, like I feel like TDC, when you guys were really hitting on all cylinders, man, like it was really opening up,
dude,
eyes around the world.
I loved that run so much, and like the origin of TDC was literally just I had trained all three of those guys, and we were traveling as much as we could, because it would have been around pandemic era was when it got started. So if you can imagine, there wasn't that much wrestling. But what we could do, and they were all, empty studio shows, and because everybody was just kind of trying to do the best that they could with what they had, right?
Right.
So TDC come together as a group outside of Dreamwave, because that was when Dreamwave was on hiatus. And for me, I think part of what made it work was that we had already kind of put it together before being brought into Dreamwave. It wasn't just being brought in and built shows, because one of my favorite memories ever is when Jay decides to bring Dreamwave back, and he calls me one morning. I'm having breakfast, and I'm like, oh, it's Jay. And I just go, hello? And he didn't even say hi or hello, because he was just so excited about bringing it back Dreamwave. He just goes, I go, hello? And just goes, Tom, how many Coyotes are there? Are there 6? And I went, what? And he goes, how many Coyotes are there? I was like, there's 4 of us. He goes, oh, okay. So I'm getting the band back together. And then goes on this, spiel about Dreamwave come back. I was like, oh. So that was part of what made it work for that run specifically at Dreamwave, was that, like, from day one, the first time that you saw us as a group, you understood, okay, Rose is the leader of this. He's the vet. Connor's our right-hand guy. And Deschain and Berna are, in essence, our henchmen, our goons. And, they're when you have a faction, you got to have roles for everybody. And if
Absolutely.
But know your role and shut your mouth. Like, if you know your role literally, it makes the group work just better. And, like, we already had that ironed out, and everybody was just completely on. Like, the 4 of us were on board with it, and one show in was pretty much all it took, and the fans got it. They understood, like, this is what this is. We did a lot of, like, really layered, detailed storytelling with it that I think people will look back on and get more so than they even did at the time. One of my favorite details was I so often had the Coyotes out there with me during my matches, especially, like, my title matches. I never went to the ring with them. So, and part of that was by design, because, there'd be Dreamwave shows where it'd be like, oh man, TDC was on 4 segments, and, like, you gotta rein it in a little bit. Yeah. So it wasn't even that I was like, no, this is some great master plan. I was like, I don't need to be seen. I'm on.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this actually, we did course correct and decide, like, about a third of the way in, I was like, no, if we keep this going, there's a story there. So we always kind of stuck to that. We never brought in new members outside of, like, the honorary members, Harvey Morenstein and Earl Hebner.
Earl Hebner, yeah.
But, like, we had a lot of people that, like, we would get messages from other wrestlers and workers and be like, yo, I want to be in TDC. That's when you know you've got something cool. That's when it's actually good that you have people backstage privately messaging you saying, could I be in this? And it's like, and some of those, like, were friends, and some of them were, acquaintances, and some would have been a good fit and some would not. But the whole time, that was also another line in the sand, was I was like, no.
Yeah. And another thing too, man, I think y'all benefited from, y'all had about 2 years run there before Dreamwave even came back. Right. So y'all had some time to tweak it, get that thing right. And then when 22 Dreamwave hit, man, like, wheels on the ground, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys were taking off. I love that era. I miss it. Honestly. I really do. Sticking on Dreamwave, man. So, let's get back to you. So you often tell me about, or, you've taught me before about, when Jay Repsol called you, about being, in Dreamwave and that kind of stuff. Would you call Dreamwave the birthplace of Christian Rose? Is that kind of like where you think you?
I won't go birthplace, but I'd say launch pad.
Okay.
I think that, like, they Dreamwave allowed me to figure out who I was faster than I was going to otherwise.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was really close to getting it right, but it would have taken me another, like, probably 1.5 years or more.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? And, like, Jay had a, bit of a direction for me, and the best thing he could do for me was just give me a microphone. And, like, at the time, it was funny because I was just trying to have, like, the best matches I could. And my matches initially, when I first got brought in, were almost secondary. Weird at the time for me to get my head around. But, like, I definitely, Dreamwave gave me the ball before anybody else was even going to attempt to give me the ball. And right. I don't even mean in the sense of, like, being presented or pushed or, winning titles or anything, but, like, they put me out there with the big names. And that was the thing that, like, made me elsewhere, because then, we talked earlier about how, like, it showed that I wasn't going to shit the bed with these guys. Right. Well, other promotions see, oh, well, he can hang with those guys, which means he'll blow the doors off of the ABCW champion who just got off his shift as Friday Night SmackDown.
Right.
And that helped tremendously for me. It kind of, like, made me, like, it definitely, I wouldn't be known in wrestling if it wasn't for Dreamwave. I wouldn't have gotten any of the opportunities I got, I don't think. I'd still be doing it. I think I wouldn't be as good. That's another thing. That's for damn sure. It would have taken me, like, Dreamwave made me much better, much quicker.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Sticking with Dreamwave, man. So, you just became the Grand Slam champion. Won every title in Dreamwave this past April. You put on like a hell of a series of matches with Cody Lane, finally winning the alternative title. And let's not forget you're the three-time Dreamwave champion. Tons of story there. You've come a long way, Christian, from training on how'd you call it? Plywood covered in carpet? Is that what it was?
Yeah, plywood covered in carpet.
You said that you weren't confident in yourself. You were throwing up from bumping those first couple of days in training. Once again, looking back on those 20 years, you're still going, man. How does that feel? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel satisfied? Like, I want to know, 20 years of doing anything is crazy. You know what I mean? As much as you love pro wrestling, how do you feel about where you are right now?
I'm so happy with it. Like, I care about money. I do this because I just love wrestling. And then the more I got into it and the more I learned about the lifestyle and everything, the more I fell in love with it. It helps keep me motivated. It keeps me healthy. As insane as that sounds, doing this shit that is quantifiably bad for your body keeps me healthy. But the things that make it worthwhile to me is I just wanted to be good at something. And when I go to shows and I get people that know me and have never even met me, and they ask, "Can you watch my match?" And I say, "Yeah, absolutely, dude." Or if I meet somebody and they say, "Hey, did you see this? What'd you think?" Or if I meet somebody and they say, "Man, I want to have a match with you." That's the stuff that makes it worthwhile to me. I want to make wrestling better. Like I said earlier, I didn't get into this to be on television. I feel very proud of the 20 years I put in. I know that there's been times where I've screwed it up. I've had plenty of bad matches. I've had opportunities that I've absolutely blown, but I'm just proud that I can still do it. I'm proud that I have people that still enjoy me doing it. They want to watch my matches. They want to buy my merch. You should buy more merch. And I get such a rush out of hearing people say that they liked watching my stuff, or that I influenced them to do this, or that they stole something. I love when people steal stuff from me.
Yeah.
I prefer it when they ask first, especially if we're on the show.
Yeah.
I recently, the last time I took a trip out to Magnum with the guys, there was a triple threat match, and I thought the finish of it was one of the smartest things I'd ever seen. And I was just sitting in the back watching, and I stood up and applauded. I was like, that was brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. I couldn't get over how good that finish was.
So you still being surprised, even that, maybe you haven't seen it all, Christian, in 20 years, right?
Oh, there's a twist to this story. Because at the night, the person who agented that triple threat match, Duke Cornell, great guy, great wrestler, just recently hung him up, came up to me and was like, "Hey, I heard you putting over the triple threat match finish." I go, "Yeah, it was awesome. Was that you? Did you agent that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Good stuff, man. Brilliant idea." And he just goes, "I stole it from you." And I went, "What?" Evidently, I did it in a triple threat match, or a variation of it in a triple threat match that Duke Cornell had seen.
So not only have you seen it all, you've forgotten it all. Full circle.
Yeah, 20 years start to forget what you've seen the years.
Oh, that's such good shit, man. That's such good shit. So what's the future look like? What's the next 5 years look like for Christian? What do you think?
Man, I'm just going to keep wrestling. I don't have maybe quite the schedule that I used to, and I'm a bit more selective with my bookings. I do have other stuff going on in my life that I enjoy for the first time in a long time. So, but I'm not going to stop wrestling. I'm not going to retire. For me, I make fun of like Matt Cage and all my other friends that have had their retirements and then they come back. You know,
Sure.
It's Hotel California, man. You can check out anytime you like.
You can never leave. Yeah.
I will be done wrestling and people won't even notice it for like 8 months, maybe a year. They'll just be like, "Oh man, Rose has been around," and like no one's gonna know. I'm just gonna be like, "Yeah."
You're gonna do an Irish goodbye to wrestling?
Irish goodbye on my life. But no, I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to keep doing everything I can for any place that I can wrestle for. I'm going to try to keep having fun forever. Keep working hard. Keep trying to be cool. And yeah, like if you're listening to this and you run a show, book me.
So till the wheels fall off on the 4-wheeler, right?
Till the wheels fall off, justify buying a new one, and then maybe the wheels fall off of that one.
Right.
You know, all with education and all.
Yeah. Fill in the blank here for me, Christian. If I hadn't been a wrestler, I would have liked to have been a blank.
A radio host, a comedian, or I would have liked
a fireman.
I would have never progressed past like 10, 12 years old. That would have just been the dreams forever. If I didn't become a wrestler, I could picture myself. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because there's stuff that like I like, you know, that I could see myself like finding work in that or something. But I don't have that I'm that passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I'm going to try to come up with would just be like a distant second place, honestly. Like,
sure.
But yeah, I think I would have. I'd have a job doing something, but like my weekends and my, you know, passion, my art would probably be like doing stand-up open mic nights and getting booed out of buildings. And you're like, no, you don't know what's funny.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Right. Yeah. I just wondered how you would answer that question. So before we go home, I'm sorry.
I would have to have some sort of a creative outlet. Like I'd probably get into writing, honestly. That would probably be the creative outlet. Yeah. But
movie critic, not on the...
Yeah, that could be a good one. Yeah.
I could see you doing very well at
that. Yeah, that's probably pretty likely, actually.
Right, it's probably more likely to happen, right?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun here with you, Christian, before I let you go home, man. So one of my favorite parts about, I mean, I love to watch you wrestle. Don't get me wrong. You know, I love the entrances, but you know, I'm a ring announcer, you know, guy, you know, I guess by trade, if you want to call it. And one of my almost favorite things is all the nicknames that you've had over the years. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems like the list constantly grows, and there's, you know, a few added in, maybe, you know, some taken out. You know, there's a few staples like King in the Valley and Gunslinger and Old Evil. You know, and then there's some like Working Man's Champion that I feel like I coined for you. The Silver Tongue Slayer we've talked about. And to just give fans an idea, everybody listening right now, of nicknames, I had a chance to announce your match against Josh Alexander back in February of 2024. And I just want to give the fans a chance to listen at some of all your nicknames here. Let's take a listen.
And now the champion, hailing from Moonshine, Illinois, representing those damn Coyotes. He is the current reigning, defending Dreamwave champion, the King of the Valley, the Working Man's Champion, the Silver Tongue Slayer, the Saturday Night Savior, Old Evil.
Oh, come on.
Christian Rose.
How many nicknames?
Well, there you go. It looks like even the commentary is asking how many nicknames you have. But I love that part of your interest, man. It's great.
Oh, dude, I have had a lot of them. And like, because I love to reinvent myself. I've gone through so many different eras. It's been 20 years. You can't just do the same thing, right? I love reinventing myself. I love like the promo thing. It helps when I do have like, oh, this is a new nickname, because that gives me something I can use as a starting point for writing, and I can always have a closing line then. Because sometimes the hard part of a promo is to find that like this is where it stops. If it keeps going, you're stepping on your own toes. And those nicknames, man, some of them were for the moment. Some of them were just fun. Silver Tongue Slayer, Saturday Night Savior. That was one I'd actually been storing for a really, really long time. Just because I thought it sounded cool. And
it does.
And I also like that it's not a tongue twister, but if you're not careful, it's easy to get tongue-tied on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was so excited to be able to announce that match that night, and I'm sitting there looking at this list, goes, all right, make sure I enunciate these right, and like, I want it to sound great, right? So that's really cool, man. Also too, man, I want to talk about, you got a documentary that just came out. Coin Captures. He's one of our ringside photography guys. He put together an awesome documentary. You can check that out now on I think it's Coin Captures on YouTube. Really cool documentary, man. It was of your kind of 20th year anniversary of Dreamwave show when you were coming in for your and it just kind of like followed you around for the day. You talked about, some things, is it a little surreal to like be looking into a camera going, damn, I'm doing a 20-year documentary?
Yeah, a little bit. Coin deserves all the credit in the world for that, man. That was his idea. He just wanted to get back into film editing, give it a whirl, see how it'd go. I'm so glad that he came up with it. He did a great job. Obviously, I loved it. And yeah, it was kind of humbling because we did that full interview. I think it was about 40 or 45 minutes. That might actually get posted too. He's been talking to me about like he may just throw out the unedited footage just to be like, LOL, here's the raw footage too. Yeah. But it was nice because I like to not be prepared for interviews. Mm-hmm. I think better, more honest answers on my toes. And it's really cool. It's really humbling. The reception to it has been great. He also edited my promo for that match with Cody Lane into a video package and did a phenomenal job on that.
Yeah.
A lot of love for that, and very well deserved for him. But it's wild because like a couple weeks ago I had a match not in my hometown but very close to, like 10-15 minutes away from my hometown. And some people that I went to high school with actually came. And they had not seen, a lot of these guys had not seen me in 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Most of them had never seen me, obviously. And it was great to catch up with them afterwards. And at one point somebody had brought up that, like, I guess there's a little Hall of Fame wall thing in my hometown for whatever. And they literally were like, oh my God, we have to put you on that. And my honest response was, what? Why? They were like, for this, you get to do all these things. Like, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine. That's great. Cool. I'm glad you guys care. I'm glad you like it. So the documentary getting the reaction that it did and being as good as it was, or is like, it's really humbling. It's really cool. Like, it's nice to know that, my efforts, the work and, sacrifice and all that. It's nice to know that it's actually like registered with people and that it's appreciated. It's not just me entertaining myself.
Absolutely, man. And I've told you this before, man, like, and this is no rub. This is just straight shooting. I love stories in my wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I just, I do. Like, senseless matches. I mean, I can watch 2 matches go, but like, if there's, something deeply entwined in that, even if it's surfacely entwined in that, that's what I love. And you do that, like, so like perfectly good, man, and like you have a definite talent to be able to do that, and we do love it. We do appreciate you and your work, and I want to tell you too here, man, before we go home, damn it, that alternative title looks good on you, dude. Like, yeah, like I thought that it might look, I mean, not for clout, but just looking like it looks like it fits you, bro. Like, and I'm happy to see you as the Dreamwave Alternative Champion. I want to plug your podcast. We were talking about the Coyotes earlier. You have some of the old Coyotes, Connor and Damon's on there. I'm a listener of your podcast. Y'all crack me up, when I'm doing my morning and evening walks, and that kind of stuff. It's called What Are We Even Doing? So go check that out on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. Spotify is how I listen to it. We do have a Patreon. You can find it on there, but yeah, it's on all the platforms. It's actually easy to get to.
Yeah, it's fun as shit. But Christian, man, I want to thank you so much, man. You know, for 20 years, for the great stories, for the great matches, the contributions to wrestling. You know, thank you for telling us the story, man. And you know, I hope we have a lot more stories before you decide to call it a day. But man, thank you for these 20 years, man. It's hard to talk about 20 years in 1 hour, but you know, I wanted to bring you here. I wanted to put some appreciation on your name because you deserve it, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the kind words. You're the best.
Absolutely, man. And look for Christian to be defending the Dreamwave Alternative title coming up here soon on all Dreamwave events. We got a lot of Dreamwave events coming up here this summer, man. We are loaded. So make sure you guys come out and check it out. So once again, Christian, I want to thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much, and just appreciate everything that you do, man. And thanks a lot.
Always a pleasure.
That's going to do it. I am DB, and you are listening to the Sit Down Mars podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, all those podcast platforms out there. We'll see you next time.